Welcome to another episode of Carpet Cleaning Guys Vlogs. I'm your host, Paul, and today we got some soil and some mystery stains. This is like an off-white carpet, eggshell type carpet. I believe it feels like a nylon poly blend. It could be all nylon, but I'm not 100% sure. It's definitely got some traffic patterns going on and some food spills, some pet urine, some heavy traffic going into the kitchen entry there, under the where the bar stools go, along the edge there. So we've got our challenge set today. I am using the Orbot Vibe. This will be, actually used it on my 9 a.m. this morning, and now I'm using it on this 11 a.m. job. So there you go. There's the Orbot Vibe, and I'm getting better and better at this. I did find out what that little black button was. I appreciate y'all chiming in. It is if you have the water tank on there, you would use that as the spray button. There's the work sprayer. I do have Green Dragon mixed up. I think I put it in there at 3 ounces per gallon. And I am using, I think at 24 ounces of odor death in there, along with the Green Dragon. And that's just for any odors, and also to take out any pet urine stains that might be there. It kind of works like it's chlorine dioxide, but it works as an oxidizer, sort of, just like hydrogen peroxide would. So I never really add any peroxide or oxy boost, dragon fire, stuff like that if I'm using the odor death. It tends to do a pretty good job. You'll see what I'm talking about. And I am going, you'll notice, into the room. And I didn't have the 21 or 22 inch microfiber scrubbing strip pads. So I'm just using a 17 inch scrubbing strip pad. So it fits right on the driver evenly, so there's no overlay. I will be ordering a case of the larger ones so that I have those for pre-scrubbing, kind of like what's going on here. And then I do have the Glad pads, which is the cotton pad. You'll see that momentarily here. And so by moving away from the cord, or entering the door and then working to the back of the room, I'm moving away from the cord, and I don't have to worry about tripping over it or tangling it up or pulling it behind me. And if you have ever watched OxyDry YouTube channel, Robin, he kind of does that all the time. That's kind of his thing. He works away from the cord, and kind of pick that up from him. He does go in and post-vacuum, so he's not really worried about walking over the work that he's doing. And that's a big thing if you're a steam cleaner. I didn't have long enough cord. There's 50 foot here, but just too far away. But anyway, coming from steam cleaning background, I'm used to working backwards. You know, you don't want to walk over your work, because we generally don't go back in and groom it. We just come from the furthest part of the room, or the furthest room away from the door, work our way back out the door, leave those nice aesthetic triangles, and that's that. But with the VLM floor machines, you can, since you're going to either post-vac or you're going to groom it anyway, you can work away from the cord. And listen to this machine. This thing is so smooth. I'm really getting the hang of it, as far as loading it in and out of the truck, how the tilt head works. Like, I have it set, the handle set where I want it, and in order to change the pads, I don't have to move this setting. All I do is just tilt the head up, since it's on a it swivels straight up, and then change the pad. Very, very easy, convenient. And I have also learned today that if you have an area that needs a little more agitation, or you'd like to have a little more weight on the head of the machine, you can actually just lift the handle forward, and that pulls the wheels up off the ground, and now it's just, an orbital wheels up, and you can kind of let it hover over whatever areas you're trying to clean, and kind of move it side to side like you would on a rotary. I will caution you, if you do have the Orbot Vibe, not to leave it in one place for very long, because you want to avoid tip bloom. That's where you get this thing's really agitating with the 1 horsepower motor. So if you just put it on a spot and you spin, especially if the pad's dry or the moisture's starting to dissipate, you'll create some damage to the fiber, so you don't want to do that. But like I said, if you do have an area that you just want to dig a little deeper, just tilt the handle up. Very, very simple. And just don't leave it in one spot too long. And I'll tell you too, the customer on this job was not that concerned, didn't think that the carpets were going to come very clean. There was a lot of red spots and a lot of strange spills, the pet urine stains, and so their expectation was pretty low. And mine coming into it, you never know. Sometimes these older off-white carpets can pick up that real dingy look, and the patterns can just become just wear patterns. They look gray, they're not dirty, they're just worn. However, this one, you'll see it's going to come out really, really nice. And I think the client was very, very impressed with the work. So that's always a good thing. And I'm just I did the one master bedroom in this section, a little tiny part of the hallway that veers off to the left towards the bathroom here. Then I'll come back in, I'll pre-spray the rest of the hallway and the dining bar stool area. You'll see that coming up here. Rather than pre-spray all of the areas, I'm doing them in smaller, 200 to 400 or 200 to 300 square foot areas at a time. And this way, there's no chance that I'm over wetting or letting it sit too long on the fibers. With the Green Dragon, 3 to 5 minute dwell time is pretty good. That's all you really need. And this way you can come back in, and I think I said in the last video, one of the things that I was doing now is I'm spraying it a little bit lighter. Now watch this. See there? Just tilt that back. You don't even have to change the position that you're cleaning the handle in. You can see how this fits just perfectly on there. All right. So like I was saying, I spray it lightly. That way I'm not over wetting, and I go all the way through, and I can tell, if it's clean, and then if it's not clean, I can come back through, spray it a second time lightly, and then go over it with another pad. What this does is it results in drier carpets and cleaner carpets. And that's kind of what I'm focusing on, or that's my goal right now, is to make sure, especially in the wintertime out here with all the humidity and rain, that the carpet's dry. And yes, you can run into wick back. I found that out a couple weeks ago, and I was spraying real heavy and trying to, when you get a carpet that looks really dirty like this one, my old steam cleaning days, you just want to really lay into it. And that actually was the wrong thing to do. I kind of over wet the carpets, and yes, they looked fantastic when I was done cleaning them, and I knew the dry time would take, longer. But what I didn't realize was that by doing that, I'm basically doing the same thing as over-wetting when it comes to steam cleaning and getting those reoccurring spots. Because the moisture's still in the carpet, you get wick back. It kind of draws up the solutions that are down below the surface of the carpet in the padding. And that happens because of the way carpet dries, it evaporates. So the moisture is pulling from the bottom of the fibers up to where the air's at, up to the top. And they call it wick back because it's like putting a fresh wick in an oil candle. You put that wick in the oil, and the oil travels up to the top of the wick. It's just the way it works, and that's what wick back is. So definitely avoiding that these days here, and it does take a little bit longer. You can see this overall looks pretty good just for the first pass. That section there. And I'll show you the dirty pad. Of course, when you groom it, it always shows a better look at the results. But you could see there's the contrast on that Glad pad. And the good thing with these 21-inch Glad pads, oh my goodness, you could see I can turn it over and use the other side. I mean, and at 21 inches, if it gets cold outside, you can just punch a hole in the center of it and put it over your head. Got yourself a nice warm poncho. Oh man, I can't get through one video without being a wisecrack, huh? Anyway, those pads are awesome. And here you can see I've come down that hallway. So now what I'm going to do is work all of this side going up and down with the cord to my left. So it's kind of another way to do cord management with these wheels down machines. Just plug the machine into the side of the room, go down one direction, kind of pivot, and go back up like you're mowing the grass. And just go nice and slow. These electrical outlets, I should be more cautious. They didn't have the caps on them. And if they're hot, which they are hot, or alive, you can run into some problems. I did that when I was using a portable steam cleaner in somebody's home. And I think they did have the caps, the lid caps, and I went over the top of it and got shocked through the wand. So luckily, I was able to release the wand and not end up getting electrocuted and attached to it. Especially with water, that's not a good fix. So be careful of those. There's two of them down there. But you could see, one-handed, I'm filming with the other hand. Piece of cake. This thing just glides across the surface of the carpet. Again, I'm using the microfiber scrub strip pad, getting my pre-agitation, and then we'll come back with the 21-inch all-cotton Glad pad and extract or absorb all of the soil into the pad. And if you're new to low moisture carpet cleaning, what will happen is probably about 96 to 98% of the soil that is suspended in the Green Dragon solution and the odor death will be transferred onto the pads, and then anything that remains will dry down to a crystal, and it will adhere to any soil, oil, residue, dirt, grease, and Then on your next routine vacuuming, it breaks apart and it also holds those oils and those soils. And when you vacuum, all that comes out. So you have the anti-resoiling properties from the polymer on like your awesome end cap, simple end cap. The crystallization leaves zero residue, no soap on the Green Dragon. So encapsulation is definitely the way to go if you're doing low moisture. You can use a neutral pH cleaner and do what they call pad capping. Like you could use simple green, mix that up and spray it on, and then use a cotton pad and just absorb that. But in reality, if you're not doing an encapsulation cleaning, you're gonna leave behind excuse me, you're gonna leave behind a little residue. Goodness, cat got my tongue. But and if you're using a neutral pH like a 7 or less, that residue is not going to create a big problem. They say they're almost like rinse free, but I would rather just go with a true encapsulation product. When you break the cost of the product down, it's actually cheaper than buying a bottle of simple green or anything else that you might use. But I'm not opposed to people doing what they want to do. And here you can see this is that the tile at the entry, and it just kind of tucks over. I think it's tucked into like a Z-bar, because I don't see any tack stripping or not tack stripping, but screws that hold the transition bar in place. So I think it's just tucked under, but it's coming nice and clean, as did the rest of the carpet. And you could tell with this machine too, the funny thing is it's not labor intensive at all. It is, I feel like with these machines that you just push, the Mighty ECO and then this one, they're both orbitals and they both are wheels down. It's just painless. It's actually easier than moving an Auric orbiter. And with those 10-inch wheels, you can go up and down stairs. You saw me do it with one hand yesterday. And this one, I've actually figured out how to load it now. That tilt head was new to me. And so every time I grabbed the front to pick it up, the head would tilt back, and I couldn't get the angle that I needed on the handle to get it in my van. I drive that NV200 Nissan, so it doesn't have a whole lot of height on it. So today, the last job and this job, I was able to practice putting it in and out of the van. Got that down to a science. Just basically set the handle back a little bit before you put it in there, and then when you pick it up, the head tilts up. But when you put the wheels down in the van, you have control of that head. You can roll it back to where you want it in the truck and then set it flat. There's the results of the bedroom, master bedroom, and the hallway. We do have some shadows casting across from the walls. You can see that. And then here, that's the entry to the dining room up there on the top right. That is magical. And then look at this. That looks like a brand new carpet. And the client was saying, they didn't have high expectations on the job. So there you go. I'll do a final walkthrough with video so you can kind of see all of the different angles. There is, there's those sockets in the floor and a few divots, but check it out. Orbot Vibe, Green Dragon, Odor Death. Looks fresh, smells fresh. Oh yeah, clean carpets. I appreciate all my subscribers and loyal followers. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm gonna take the weekend off and go fishing. I love to fish up here in the state of Washington, so I hope you all have a great weekend. And if I catch something big, I'll post it. I'll see you in the next one.